Welcome back to Two Stagehands and a Microphone. We're two stagehands, that is.
Two of them.
Two of them and
Two
a microphone.
stagehands
Well,
and a microphone. There's two microphones.
Yeah,
but we
three,
thought two
technically.
microphones sounded dumb.
Yeah,
Right?
It does. It does.
It doesn't work with that little
No,
thing. Hey,
and
man.
it's more of the concept of a microphone. It's one recorder. It all goes into one mix eventually. Cheer.
Happy Sunday, my friend.
Happy Sunday to our noble selves. There's damn few of us left. Sean Finnegan and Disco Brillig. Two stagehands and a microphone.
I was thinking today we are going to give a little shout out, little memento to two of our fallen co-workers in the union, the Stagehands Union, IATSE. Last year, we lost a good friend of ours, Tony Yoakum.
Yeah.
Here's to Tony.
To Tony.
He was at the Moda Center for concerts and the Trailblazers games for, I believe, 30 years. Here is, we unload trucks at the loading dock as stagehands. You can't see, but it says Tony on the back. And they gave these out to everyone at his memorial.
Tony.
And me and Disco both went to his memorial.
Yeah, Tony would draw a picture of the truck, and on the trailer of the truck, it would say how many trucks we would have to unload for the day.
That's right.
And he would draw a new truck every other day or so.
I forgot about that.
And so the last truck that he drew on the whiteboard has been up there for 2 years ever since, and it's never gotten replaced.
Wow. He was so funny, too. Like, the last show I thought I worked with him was that Bruce Springsteen. I realized it wasn't. It was another show at the Vets Memorial right next door.
That's a challenging area to use.
It's a challenging area because there's no loading dock, so everything has to be either ramped or forklifted
very
on
sharp
and off
corners too. Yeah,
sharp corners and big pillars right there. And some of it was their first night working the forklift after taking the test, and they were slow. And Tony was like in my ear over my shoulder, going, "Oh my God, got Grandma behind there."
I think I was at that show.
Yeah, and it was
Disney
just,
on
the
Ice
guy
or
was
one of
doing
those?
great too. It was
Yeah.
his first time. It's a nervous thing. I mean, you'd be a little tense, and he was a character like that. You know?
Yeah.
I think he started working with John and Mick, the electrician. They've been there as long, both those guys.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the old timers who was there. He was a supervisor, and one of his phrases was, what is it? Early is on time, I think he is one of his...
15 minutes early is on time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he told me once. That's right. I forgot. That's a really good, just general in life principle.
And especially when you're with 20,000 people waiting for you to set up, right?
Yeah,
that kind of that thing.
Yeah, so I put on a collared shirt for our little memorial today, and Disco, of course, put on his...
the Michael Bublé or Michael Brillig, whichever Higher World Tour t-shirt.
Michael Bublé, right? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, I think so.
I had an ex-girlfriend who was in love with that guy's music, and I don't know any of his songs, but I do know he's got a lot of talent.
I remember I was on the carpentry team, and so I remember he had a lot of decks.
Putting up the stage deck.
Yeah, exactly, that kind of stuff. Because there were multiple tiers, because you have all of the instruments. But back to Tony. I mean, he was... He took me aside and asked me if I was going to stick around. Like, he noticed all these people dropping off.
And that's kind of a cool left-handed compliment from Tony.
Right, it was.
Right?
Because
if he doesn't like someone's work, was he ever shy about letting
No, not at all. He definitely was very straightforward with you, right?
Yep, that's the perfect word. He is straightforward. He's almost gruff.
Yeah.
You know?
But he didn't really mind as long... He wanted to see you working was primarily
yeah,
it, right?
And I think anyone in that position, you want to see your workers in efficiency, and when some people are constantly late or complain a lot, or that kind of, he was from that school, that bugged him.
Yeah, I agree.
He'd let him know. He would let him know. But here's quick Tony's story. So I don't know if I've told you this before, but I'll tell you again.
We certainly have other people who haven't heard it, right?
Yeah, I'll make it as quick as brief as I can be. 2010, I started steelhead fishing with a guy in Portland who'd grown up here, And I used to work with him on another job. We ran each other at a barbecue. He said, "I'll take you fishing at this river. I never tell the names of the rivers I fish just to keep them kind of private."
That
So
makes sense, yeah.
but it's a legendary fishing river up here. Mm-hmm. And I ran into him at barbecue years after the job. We started fishing together all the time. He was very proficient steelhead salmon fisherman. And my game, I really got better. I was not a total rookie when I came in, but I was a beginner. And by the time after those 2 years fishing with this guy, I had some skills. I had a lot of fun. And it was a big change in my life. I'll never forget the guy. But anyway, he would always tell me, "No, you got to meet as a buddy of mine, Tuna Ball. You guys got to come out fishing together. You and Tuna Ball, you're always talking music. You guys almost talk the same." He goes, "You got to meet my buddy Tuna Ball." And I was like, that's a great name, right? How can you forget that?
Totally. How can you not love Tuna Ball?
Right, this is 2010 to about 2012. Mm-hmm. And fast forward to 2016, I start working as a stagehand. And when Tony would check me in every day, because of the band t-shirts I was wearing, usually kind of thrash metal bands or heavy metal bands, he would always comment like, "Right on, bro, I like them too. I've partied with them after the show when they've come through Moda
He
Center."
had so many stories.
He partied with everyone.
Everyone who came
Pantera,
through. Yeah.
Metallica. They want to play pool. They're going with Tony after work. He was that guy.
Yeah, so many pictures of all of the bands that came through.
So anyway, I was on the job 2016, about 6 months. Sometimes we're on the floor and your department has a dead moment. There's nothing you can do because something has to move. So I was talking, I think it was Pinky. Mm-hmm. I was talking to Pinky and I was showing him some steelhead I caught, or salmon that weekend. It was either steelhead or salmon at that time in my life. And he was like, "Oh, that's cool, man." He goes, "But I'm not much of a fisherman, man. I know who is Tony." I go, "Oh, really? Our foreman?" Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I go over there and I talk to shop steward Tony. And he's at the desk, and I go, "Bro, look at these steelhead. I heard you're a fisherman." And he's looking at me, he's going, "Oh, awesome." And he goes, "Look at my steelhead." And he pulled out his phone, and he started showing me his. All of a sudden, I got to that picture of that guy that I used to fish with in 2010. And he looks at it, Tony, and goes, "You know Chad?"
Wow.
And I go, "Your Tuna Ball?" Dude, on Tony's Facebook page, I think his Facebook page is still up, it says, "Tony Tuna Ball Yoakum." And I fished with him, I think twice. Maybe it was once.
That's awesome.
But outside of work, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I actually went by his house and hung out with him for about an hour or 2 days before he passed away.
That's right.
That was crazy. It was the first time I'd ever been to his house outside of work or meeting him to fish. Mm-hmm. And he was a great guy. Here's another cool thing. I always had the Metallica Suicidal Tendencies or a Pantera shirt that he would respond to. One day I come in wearing a Steely Dan shirt because I like old metal, but I like all kinds of music.
Oh, yeah.
And that freaked Tony out. He's like, "Dude, you like all that heavy music and you like Steely Dan? I'm Mr. Steely Dan. I know every lyric." He was a Steely Dan fanatic. And that just kind of, embedded us a little deeper. And a final note on him is the last time I ever worked with him, I built the stage as a carpenter in the morning. Mm-hmm. You always do the same job when you come back at night. And Bruce Springsteen was playing. I love Bruce Springsteen. Tony wasn't that into Bruce Springsteen. When I came back and he was handing out job assignments, of course I'm going to build the stage again, right? He goes, "Finnegan, you're doing backline," which means I'm working with the musicians and not really the musicians, but the techs who work with the musicians' instruments. So I watched the whole Bruce Springsteen concert, dude, with my face poked through the curtain, and like little Steven from The Sopranos. Oh yeah, he's in the band. I mean, it was just amazing, and it was also that last time I stopped by Tony's house, the first time in 6 years of knowing him that I ever gave him a hug. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I gave him a hug. I was leaving. I go, "See you, bro." I just gave him a hug. He wasn't really a huggy type, right?
No, not.
The whole thing, it's like, it's good memory. So here's fallen friend.
Oh, Larry Breidenbach. Yeah, Larry was.
He passed. Tony passed over about a year ago, a little more, and
I think it's only been a couple of months with Larry.
I don't even think. Maybe it's been 2 months. I think that's where you're right. I think maybe it's been 6,
maybe a month and
weeks.
A half. Yeah. There were guys at the. It was at what was it? The show.
What was the show? what was the last show? Because
I didn't go to the one that was the last one he worked.
Okay, here's what's weird about that. It was my first show back after getting injured on the job.
Oh.
And I was off for a year. I mean, I healed up from the injury after about 4 months, but I did some other work. Came back and was stagehanding again. It was my first show back. I saw Larry. I'm not claiming we were best friends. I only knew him for about 2 years. But he was 72. He had a long gray beard. And he told me I asked him once, which I ask a lot of old-time veterans, hey, what was your first show you ever worked? And Larry's first show was the Grateful Dead.
He toured with them,
Put your mug up to the camera.
Yeah, yes.
Grateful Dead at
Amazon.com. No.
I think at Autzen Stadium or whatever it was before Autzen, whatever that time.
He mentioned that. He grew up on a marina from what
he lived on a boat.
Yeah, he lived on a boat and was building himself a houseboat and invited me to go out. And I was just trying to set up time with my kids because I wanted to go out.
Kids were going to go out with you?
Yeah, because it was off of Savi Island. So he gave me his address. I had his phone number and everything. Dude. And yeah, I was just going to go out in the water and see. He mentioned like he was only able to work on it. He was like 72 or 73. Yeah. And was only able to work on his boat like 4 or 5 hours a day. That kind of stuff but he was amazingly spry and did all the work that we did, I mean.
Yeah, he was working forklift my first show back, which was his last. I mean, he died, I think, that night or the next morning.
Right before Foo Fighters, because I remember.
Well, I remember it came out Monday. I worked with him Saturday night, and Monday I got the email from the union that he passed away.
Yeah.
So from Saturday night to Monday, he passed away, somewhere in there. And here's what's weird is, because I've been off for a year, he was working forklift that night, and I did stop at one point and give him the fist bump and said, hey, Larry, best first gig story ever, Grateful Dead at UG. And he's like, you remembered, man. You know what I mean? And that just quick exchange I had with him, and then he was dead.
Yeah.
Here's to Larry.
To Larry.
Right back.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. One of the most poignant things that happened after Tony's death was a speech given by Eric. I'm not sure if you were there, inviting people to Tony's memorial. And he warned people about not wearing black to a stagehand's funeral,
correct.
Right? And I'm going to probably butcher the speech that he, gave me chills when listening to it. But the reasoning is that we wear blacks for work, right?
We live and I should have thought about that. I'm wearing all black.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, we live and work in the dark.
Yeah, and you wore that outfit to his memorial.
To the memorial.
Yeah, we wear black all the time, so wear colors to the stagehand's funeral.
Right, as a way to not let our fallen stagehands go by without being recognized, right? If we do our job correctly, no one knows we're there. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Things appear by magic. Lights happen without effort. Things just happen at the drop of a hat. Miracles happen on stage. Spectacle that, 2,000 years ago would inspire a religion. We're just doing daily. And no one realizes the hundreds of people that it takes to maintain this beast, to put on this spectacle. And it's an opportunity to lift one of us up and give them that brightness and creativity the colors that we give to everyone else. We're honoring.
I loved it when you wore that suit, man. I got a picture with you somewhere. I'll have to get it to you.
Yeah, well, maybe we could throw it up. Yeah,
I got it somewhere. I just saw it recently. I wore a Columbia, that brand Columbia shirt, but it was all fish.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
For Tony, because he loves the fish, and that's what I put on. It's so funny because we have that framed picture of him at the thing there, where everyone signed at the memorial.
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, I want to sign that." And Mick goes, "I think you did." And it was in the corner I had signed it.
Wow. I don't know if I did.
See, that's what I thought too. I was like, I don't remember signing it. And then I kind of, when I saw it, I was like, I wrote "Keep Fishing,"
Wow.
And that was crazy, man. It was just really strange because he was 54 years old. And Larry was 72.
Yeah. On the other
hand, does that say something about the hardship of this work?
I think so. And these are just two of them that we worked with, day in and day out. We both knew both Larry and Tony. My entire time working for,
Same here.
The on-call union. And, Larry and I were often on lights, and, we would work together, and we had kind of the same ethic of, like, taking things slowly and safely and, doing that kind of stuff. I mean, I run around a lot, but, like, we had kind of similar, like, not wanting to get our hands smashed and things and stuff like that. And so, yeah, exactly. Just talking out loud with other people of what you're doing and coordinating. And
I have no problem being loud because it's so loud in there. It always amazes me how many people aren't loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'll meet some people who's been on tour. They've been working on tour for like 20 dates before they got to Portland, and they're still telling you how to do this thing on the light. They're kind of going like this. And you're going, dude, we're in an arena with so loud in here. Like, yell to me, please. So, although one thing I'll always yell is, like, sometimes when we're pushing and you got new people, I think especially young people, they want to show that they're hard workers, so they push it real fast. And I'm always up front when I got a young person because it's not, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I'm always like, ho, 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 don't be jamming any ankles up.
Especially not if you're pushing like a 2-ton barge down the Concord, right?
It could flatten a person.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty heavy.
So, speaking of Larry's Grateful Dead show being his first show, I think this for Larry it was like somewhere in the late 70s. I told you I'm not a religious person other than I do listen to Grateful Dead every Sunday. Today is a Sunday, just like our last time we recorded was a Sunday. And that's why you got for Larry the Grateful Dead mug there.
Absolutely.
And this was that your first time today, kind of listening to a live Dead album? Or one of few times?
I don't really have any memories of Grateful Dead. That's one of the bands that just never. I mean, I've heard them, but never. I can't say that that's a Grateful Dead song.
Right. No, I totally get that. But what did you think? It wasn't offensive, did it?
No, it was just kind of ambient jazz groove rock kind of stuff.
Their live albums are often that.
No, it was great. Yeah, I didn't object to anything.
Cool.
It wasn't.
Didn't repulse you.
No, it wasn't groundbreaking, I don't think, especially by today's standards.
Sure.
But, I could see, like, in the heyday of the 60s and 70s, how that would just blow people's minds.
Yeah, and it's like I said, there's a few bands in this world that seeing them live makes you put the band in your heart even more. You know what I mean? It goes deeper somehow, the live. So then when you come back to their music, it's like, you have this new enthusiasm. I had that with Bruce Springsteen, and Metallica, and the Grateful Dead. Also Sade. Sade was a life-altering show for me. I know it was a fantastic experience, but I'm glad you can dig the Dead.
Yeah, friend. I think as far as I go, 9 Inch Nails, Depeche Mode.
I saw Depeche Mode twice.
I think I've also seen Depeche Mode twice. Both times at the Moda.
I saw them. I saw 9 Inch Nails.
I did too. I saw them at the Moda Center.
Oh, wow. With who?
I think, like, Queens of the Stone Age opened for them, but I forget.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know who's opening for Weezer? Dinosaur Jr.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Oh, man, I love that band.
Yeah.
And Flaming Lips.
I saw them in
That's a good
Sweden.
Did you really, in Sweden?
Yeah, I went to Way Out West Festival in Gothenburg, Sweden in 2008, and Flaming Lips were playing, along with Sigur Rós, which was transcendent to see. And I think I also saw Nick Cave in a Grinderman kind of thing.
That's cool. I would have loved to see Nick Cave.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't. It was not. I mean, it was a collaborate. I think it was.
Yeah, Metallica did an album of covers, and they covered a Nick Cave song.
You know who? Korn's coming in
Korn
in a couple days.
Don't even get me started.
But I put on. I found a compilation CD that I didn't even know I had of Korn. I picked up a random CD wallet that somebody gave me with like no cases or anything, and I saw Korn in it. And since Korn's coming in a couple of days, I thought, oh, why not give it a listen? Very first song on the compilation was a cover of Cameo's "Word Up."
Oh yeah, I remember
they nailed that. Oh my God.
I've heard that.
My favorite song of theirs now is Word Up. Yeah, absolutely. I was so blown away by that cover.
Yeah, I love Korn. I saw him twice, once in 10 days. Saw him open for Metallica in LA Forum, and then saw him 10 days later on I think it was like my 28th or 30th birthday.
Wow.
Yeah, and San Francisco at the Cow Palace.
I don't think I've ever seen a band that close together.
I don't think I have either. I don't think I've seen it. Oh, no, I saw U2 once 2 days in a row.
I mean, I've seen some local bands that I've done lighting for, but that doesn't count if you're working the show, right?
Yeah,
I feel if you're on tour, that's not quite the same level of
Can't
like
say
investment.
I saw 40 shows.
Yeah, man, I saw The Cure 25 times. I mean, I was working, or whatever. Again.
Right. I actually have to go back to the Motive Center because I'm working a show tonight. I'm doing the loadout for Weezer.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah.
What was the load in like?
It was really smooth. I was on lighting first time in a year.
Oh, I love lighting. That's my jam.
That's what you said last time. You love the lighting. I don't dislike it. It's just sometimes you're running a lot of cable,
That is the one thing.
Sometimes I like that. Sometimes I do like the workout of running cable. I really do. I get into it.
It depends on your team a lot. How familiar they are with feeding you the equipment, whether or not they decide to. They can help you in the wrong way. So if they're feeding it to where you have to lift it again rather than just having it up, it makes it a lot harder sometimes. But yeah, I like pinning truss together. There's just something.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something great about pinning. Just popping the cotter pin on, grabbing a mallet to get that thing out or get it back in.
It's Taylor Truss, right? That's the kind of brand thing I think that they use that have the little trolleys. The pain in the ass thing is the flipping the legs often.
Yes.
Right?
Flipping the legs, just know what's a pain in the ass about it is the pull in and out in timing with someone else. Because if someone's off or a little quicker, they just jam up in those.
And how directional they are, right? Like you have to be on one side or the other side in order to put the legs on. I was on, what was her name? Bonnie Raitt.
Oh, one that's right. I
Wednesday.
forgot to ask you about Bonnie Raitt.
Yeah, so I was with my kids during the day, so I couldn't do the in, but very last minute they offered me the out, which I took. And they put me on backline with the guitar tech. And so we're pushing it at the Schnitz. And if you know the Schnitz, it's this gorgeous old building. With
It's compact back there, though. The backstage is compact.
And the ramp going up is about a
that's
45-degree angle.
Dude, pushing out there at 4 in the
feet.
morning. I've been out there 4 in the morning pushing out, and you're going, you got to get a running start, and there's no running start.
Yeah, there is none. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So hold on, tell me about the guitar tech.
Okay, so being the guitar, that was where my assignment. I was backline. I think they were both. The guy was assigned to was Matt, and then Matt was also the guitar tech was Nate. And so putting the cases back on, wrapping up cables, pushed everything out. It was great. One of the problems of the Schnitz again is it's on that steep sloped grade. Not only are you on a fairly steep ramp going up to the curb, but the curb on the other way is going downhill as well. So you're almost at this peak, which also means that the truck is going downhill. And loading a truck, which is at a severe angle, is often difficult if you have, a specific pack order and those kind of things. So we were desperately pushing these things out at 1 a.m. I think their call time was 11:30. She played till a little after 11, and then we went out and started pushing everything and wrapping everything up. All the lights came down, speakers, and I think they had the speaker package of the house. But we were on that curb, holding up things against gravity so other things could be pushed up the ramp into the truck. So you go uphill up the ramp and then downhill up the truck. I mean, it's basically Marvel's Madness, only with tech gear. And while I'm holding up one of these boxes against gravity so it doesn't fall back, the security detail and Bonnie Raitt comes walking out, sees us loading stuff into the truck because her RVs are just around the corner, tour buses.
Yeah, they're always tour buses.
Yeah, and she I'm 2 feet from her, and she turns to me and says, "Hey, that looks like a lot of work," or something along those lines. And I'm
my God.
Yeah, exactly. And I say, "Thank you for coming, and have a great night," and that kind of stuff. And she says, "Thank you again." And
she's cool.
Yeah, she was cool. She had red hair. She was a little shorter.
I don't know how I would not look at her. She's one of my all-time favorite singers and just artists. I would have just said, thank you. And by the way, I love you, Bonnie.
I didn't say I love you, but
I couldn't have restrained myself. I'm just a huge fan.
She was last there. Ellen, one of the other stagehands, mentioned that she was on the trussing crew last time Bonnie Raitt was in town, 30 years ago at the same venue.
Wow.
Right? Wow. And so one stagehand was on this dual end of this.
The Bonnie experience.
Right, yeah.
Wow.
And there were other people
so
reminiscing
cool.
about Bonnie and stuff there as well. It was just neat to see that kind of excitement over, a guest or artist, and just see how, personable and, just kind of kind and whatnot. And even, they had big burly security guards around them, but, it's just neat to see the humanity. And that's kind of like what I really love
Anytime
about
an
this.
artist is cool, it just makes them way cooler. In the slightest slight, and they're just... there's no middle ground. They're either super cool, or you're just like, that person's lame.
Yeah, they either have found that zen within themselves,
Right, or else
they're
they're just
trying to just
power
hide
tripper.
and project from, the demons inside. So,
Well said.
yeah.
Well said.
I don't even know what time it is since
Me
all
neither.
the
I
thing
want
is.
to make sure we're still recording.
I'm pretty sure we are.
Oh, good.
I haven't heard any
We gotta,
clicks,
totally,
right?
like I said,
And that's
we're starting off this podcast. We're gonna learn these things.
Absolutely. Look at this. We got 2 more mics working and several more lights.
Yeah.
And you can actually tell what
And
the
we
skull
elevated.
is. Yeah.
What's his name?
Yorick.
Yorick.
Yeah.
Gotta remember that Yorick.
Yorick, yeah. Still working on a little bit of the insides of him, but yeah, he's coming along pretty well. I like him a lot.
One of my mom's best friends, Arlene Place, painted these 2 Japanese red snapper for me, and that you can't really see them from your angle back here. And she's one of my favorite multimedia artists, and rarely does anyone get a piece of art from her.
Oh, yeah?
And a couple birthdays ago, that showed up for me.
Aw,
Everyone
that's
in my
amazing.
family was jealous. I was like, oh my God. I've
That's
got Arlene
cool.
art. We're going to do this every show, too. Check out my novel, NorCal, by Sean Finnegan. Just throw it in Google. SeanFinnegan.
All the cool people are buying it.
Oh, you came up with that tagline last week. I might do that every time. All the cool people are buying it.
Yes, just bandwagon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got to get rolling out because I got to go back and do that loadout.
That's right. You've got Weezer to go to.
Taking loadout with Weezer, taking all their stuff out to the trucks, getting those lights down.
And I've got an early morning tomorrow, a 7 o'clock show call for PJ Harvey. So
PJ Harvey for this guy tomorrow. 2 stagehands and a microphone.
call it.
Thanks,
There we
buddy.
are. Subscribe.
R.I.P.
Like.
Tony. R.I.P. Larry.
Yeah, for Larry and Tony, one last time. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you guys.
Two Stagehands and a Microphone with Sean Finnegan and Disco Brillig with music produced by Mike Favero.